Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be taking you through a very important aspect of communication. I'm going to take you through how the different business functions communicate with each other and why it is very important. This will be a series of videos that I'm going to be coming up with. So this is the first video which will talk about the importance of communication between the different business functions in an organization. If you've not done so, I would urge you to go ahead and like the videos on my channel if you really like them. If you want to comment on them, please do so. And if you want to share the videos that I bring to you through my channel to your network, please do so. And if you've not done so, I would request you to go ahead and subscribe to my channel right away, hit that bell button so that whenever I come up with new videos on my channel, you get notified first up. So without further ado, let's jump into today's video. So today I'm going to be talking about the different business functions and how they communicate with each other and why it is extremely important. So when you look at this particular diagram, I know it is a little confusing, but I'm going to make sense of it all to you right now. So in any organization, so to speak, right, there is a board of directors. Now, this board primarily appoints somebody who's called a CEO or a chief executive officer and a managing director. Mostly, a CEO is different as compared to a managing director, but in some cases, in some organizations, the CEO, who's the chief executive officer, also doubles up as a managing director. Now, when you look at this particular diagram, what you observe is the customer and the consumer of this particular business is right at the center. And that is extremely important. Whenever an organization comes up with different products and services, the customer or consumer has to be the pivot around which the entire organization revolves. So when you look at the different functions per se, within an organization, they comprise mainly sales and marketing, manufacturing, information technology, supply chain, human resources as being the major departments or major functions of a particular organization. Then we have the vendors and suppliers. Vendors and suppliers supply raw material, semi-finished goods, and other utilities and services in order for an organization to function effectively and efficiently, right? Now let's look at the relationships that exist between the customer and the consumer and the organization per se, right? So you see the black arrows point to the fact that while the board of directors appoint the CEO and the MD of an organization, the CEO and MD of the organization are responsible for the entire experience of goods and services that are provided by this organization to the customers and the consumers. So there has to be a lot of transparency between what the customer needs and consumer needs and what the organization delivers. And the CEO and the MD have to ensure that whatever the organization is promising as per the needs of the customers and the consumers is being delivered to the relevant target audiences or the relevant market. Now, when you talk about the communication standpoint or the communication loop is between the sales and marketing team and the customers and consumers, the manufacturing team and the customers and consumers, the information technology team and the customers and consumers, the supply chain team, as well as the human resources team between the customers and consumers. And that's what the black arrows signify. Now, you will be wondering that why, apart from sales and marketing, a department like manufacturing or a function like manufacturing or human resources or supply chain or information technology need to be in consistent pulse of what the customers and consumers are demanding. That is very important. Why I say that is, while the sales and marketing team are responsible for revenues and demand generation respectively from the customers and the consumers, and they are in direct touch with the market per se, there has to be an onus on all the other functions, be it manufacturing, supply chain, human resources, or information technology, that they are equally responsible for the customers and the consumers' experience in terms of product and service delivery to the target market. Now, that's one part to look at it. So for a manufacturing person on the assembly line or a supply chain executive who's distributing the products out in the market, or a human resources person who is responsible to ensure that the right person is at the right job so that the customer needs are serviced in the best and most optimum manner, or the IT team personnel who need to always ensure that the systems are always up and running for each and every organization to function, each and every function in the organization to effectively function, to deliver what the organization has promised to deliver to the customers and consumers. Thus, it is very important that all of these different functions also communicate an A game to the customers and the consumers. Now, let me, kind of help you understand this at a deeper level. So while we have the customers and consumers to be, and their needs to be met from this specific organization, there has to be a lot of transparency and communication loops between sales and marketing and all other functions, between information technology and all other functions, between supply chain, human resources, manufacturing, and all other functions within an organization. Each function within an organization is responsible to ensure that the customer or the consumer needs are delivered in the best possible manner with the highest level of service as possible for this particular organization per se. So when you look at the green arrows within this particular graph or chart that you have on screen, a very important cog in the entire customer experience which the organization wants to deliver to the customers and consumers are the vendors and suppliers. So there has to be camaraderie, there has to be transparency, there has to be a team spirit and a partnership spirit between all the functions of this particular organization, be it sales and marketing, information technology, supply chain, manufacturing, or human resources, with the vendors and suppliers. It's very important because the vendors and suppliers are responsible to ensure that they deliver any particular good or service which is a semi-finished or a finished good or service, which is responsible for the different functions within this organization to deliver the customer experience that they have to deliver that superior customer experience, to deliver that superior service delivery to the customers and consumers of this particular organization. Most often, vendors and suppliers are looked upon as somebody who is needed, but somebody wherein the functions of wherein the different functions of the organization are not very keen to communicate with the vendors and suppliers. They don't look at vendors and suppliers as partners, but it's extremely important that there has to be a transparent communication loop between all the different functions of an organization and the vendors and suppliers, because at the end of the day, it is these vendors and suppliers who are going to supply the raw materials or semi-finished goods and services to this particular organization, to the various functions of the organization, so that they can produce the finished goods and services and then deliver those finished goods and services to the customers and consumers. Once this is done effectively, only then there is a healthy top line or sales or revenues which are going to be realized, and a healthy bottom line, which is the profit after taxes. And then, of course, after ensuring all other expenses and overheads are taken care of, an earning per share is delivered, which is the responsibility of the CEO and the MD to the board of directors of any particular organization per se. So there are two communication loops that we already spoke of. One is the communication loop, which has to be very, very transparent, and the functions need to be really alert in terms of what is that the customer and the consumer of this particular organization is demanding. And am I, as a part of a function, which is either sales or marketing, information technology, supply chain, manufacturing, or human resources, am I doing my bit in terms of ensuring that the superior customer experience and customer service delivery is delivered to the customers or consumers or not? That's one. The second communication loop is between the vendors and suppliers of this particular organization and the different functional areas of this particular organization, whether it's sales and marketing, information technology, supply chain, human resources, or manufacturing. Now, each of these functions do require certain products or services, right, from the vendors and suppliers. So the vendors and suppliers need to be looked upon as partners in order to ensure that there is always a transparent communication loop which is present and existing between the different functions of the organization and the vendors and suppliers of this particular organization. Now, the third type of relationship that is evident within this particular graph or within this particular visualization is between the human resources team and the different functional areas and the management of the organization, along with the vendors and suppliers. So human resources are extremely important for an organization, because at the end of the day, it is human capital which is responsible to deliver the right level of customer service, right experience to the customers, right experience to the consumers of this particular organization. So human resources has to be a partner for all of the different functional areas of the organization, whether it be sales and marketing, looking for different sales resources, looking for different marketing resources, whether it is manufacturing resources, whether it is supply chain personnel, information technology personnel, per se. So human resources do play a very important role, and they need to be in constant touch with all other functions of the organization and the vendors and suppliers. And there has to be a constructive, consistent communication loop between the different functions of the organization, the vendors and suppliers of the organization, as well as the chief executive officer and the MD, who are the senior leadership of the organization. It's very important for the human resources to be in touch with all of these areas of an organization per se. Now, why it is important to have a constant, transparent, and consistent communication loop between the human resources and the different functional areas of the organization is to ensure most of the organizations today are on a growth path. There is no organization who wants to degrow, right? Now, when these organizations need more resources, more feet on the street, so to speak, that is where human resources plays a very, very important role. If an organization needs more sales and marketing resources or information technology resources, supply chain resources or manufacturing resources, or even human resources per se, for their own function, for their own functional area, it is the responsibility of the human resources to find the good human capital, the talented human capital, who can go ahead and respond to the customer needs and respond to the growth needs of this particular organization. At the same time, it is very important. In most organizations, human resources is also encompassed with the administration department. And administration department primarily deals with the vendors and suppliers. So human resources also need to be ensuring that each of the functions of the organization, in addition to the administration department or the administrative function, looks at vendors and suppliers as partners. The human resources team also has to ensure that the vendors and suppliers are looked upon as partners. Now, this forms the basis of the next series of videos that I'm going to be coming up with. So this was the first video which spoke about the different functional areas of the organization and why is it important to have a consistent communication loop between all of these functional areas, between all of these functional areas and the human resources team, and between all of these functional areas and the vendors and suppliers of an organization. My next series of videos are going to focus on sales and marketing, where I'm going to be talking about why sales and marketing is important and how sales and marketing communicates with the different stakeholders within an organizational arena. So with this, I come to the end of this video and I look forward to the next video where I'm going to be talking about how sales and marketing and the communication aspect of sales and marketing is important. If you've not done so, I would want you to please go ahead and subscribe to my channel, hit the bell button so that whenever I come up with new videos, you get to know that a new video has come up. And if you really like my channel, you like the content that I come up with, you may want to like my videos. You may want to comment on my videos, or you may want to share these videos with someone in your network who you believe can benefit or derive value of this content that I come up with. Till next time, take care of yourself, and I'm going to see you soon with my next series of videos. Thank you.